गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। द वुल्फ वॉरियर इज बैक. China is becoming more militaristic. A certain amount of conflict is on between Japan and China. It started a few days back. It's deepening. Where will this go? We don't know. Will this end in some dialogue? I don't know. But there is conflict. We need to understand that. Why is it necessary to understand what's happening between Japan and China and all that? Too much of Pakistan is not good for health. You hear too much of Pakistan, you'll start believing Pakistan is the end be all and end all of the world. No, sorry, there is the whole world besides this, and it's active. You just can't say that I will only look at Pakistan. And there is a Japan China rift which could turn into a conflict, and it's deepening day by day. The next thing is, if China and Japan get into a spat with each other, the Indo-Pacific is back. If the Indo-Pacific is back, India is back. USA can't do without India. For that matter, neither can Japan, nor can Philippines, nor Taiwan, nor Australia. All this is in the kitty. There you are. And then Pakistan will be consigned to the dustbin. But you need to understand what's happening there before we, start dreaming. I'm reminded of a podcast I did, say, a month back or 2 months back with an Australian. And he was very clear. The Quad collapses without India. And what do we do? Australia and Japan, they're worried. They need India. So, will this Japan-China conflict trigger USA into shifting focus here? Let's understand this. At this point of time, it's still incipient, but it's better to understand these things when they start rather than, at some point of time when the bullets start flying. So far, no bullets. But something has happened. First things, 3 PLA warships. They've sailed past Japan. They've gone through the Osumi Straits. Okay, quite close to Japan. And I'll explain to you the map where Osumi Strait is. We'll recap what all is there in the South China Sea and the first chain of islands and all that, so that we understand what we're talking of. This was yesterday. I mean, 3 warships going next to Japan, pretty close. It's unprecedented. Today, all Chinese airlines are offering refunds for cancellations. The Chinese government has told all its people, if you don't want to go to, they've in fact issued an advisory: don't go to Japan. And if you don't go to Japan, all Chinese airlines will give a refund back to you. So it's gone to the next step, and this is today. In fact, I just saw it in the evening as I was, putting things in place here. Now, where is this entire story happening? Here, it's here, right? It's in this place. Okay, so this is Osumi Islands. It is around this place that this thing has happened. Where is Osumi Islands? This, of course, is Shanghai, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, and Osumi is here. It's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, this is Osumi Island. And the line you see here, this is the Osumi Straits. And it is through this Osumi Straits that these 3 PLA warships have gone. And Japanese islands to the north, Japanese islands to the south. This is part of the Osaka chain. So it's virtually pretty aggressive. You have to understand that. Who? You have to understand that Japan is not Japan. China is being pretty aggressive about its actions. Now you let's look back, step back. You've gone inside, step back. Where is this? This is of course Osaka. You see this chain of islands. These are all Japanese islands. This part of the first island chain. Taiwan, the focus of the first island chain, and then onwards a set of islands down to Philippines. This is the northernmost island of Philippines called Luzon. Now all this has come into play in this whole story. The rift is taking place here. But why is it taking place here? We'll come to that a little later. The word play I'll come later, but understand. Down south, the nearest Japanese island to Taiwan, this is Taiwan, the easternmost part of Taiwan, is Yonaguni. Yonaguni is just 100 kilometers away, right? This is Yonaguni, 100 kilometers away. This is the Osaka line, Diaoyu, Senkaku, all these here. And look at this here, which I made a mark in red. This is called the Bashi Strait. The Bashi Strait is the gap between the southernmost tip of Taiwan and the whole lot of islands which are of Philippines, which extend from Luzon. Okay, this is Luzon. This is Bashi Strait. It is a small speck out here, and all these islands here are all Filipino islands. All these islands are Japanese islands. 100 kilometers away, Osumi Strait is here. They're trying to do something here, but anything to be done here, there will be an effect on this also. Anything to be done on Taiwan, there's going to be an effect here also. And why is this started? It started because of this, right? It started because of this. Okay, it started because of this, where the Japanese PM in the APEC summit, recently held APEC summit, she met the new Japanese PM, ex vice premier of Taiwan. So the Chinese went up in flames. In APEC meeting, you're meeting an ex vice vice prime minister of Taiwan. So Chinese are upset. To add to that, this thing goes a little further, and as per Reuters, it said it's crossed the line. Chinese state media blast Japanese PM as Taiwan spat rumbles on. What's the exact spat that's there? This thing. What Japan's Prime Minister Sanai Taikichi, she stated any cross-strait conflict would create a survival-threatening situation for Japan. It's a matter of survival threatening. It's a matter of survival for Japan, which could provide legal justification for deploying the country's military. That means, look, you attack Taiwan, you are creating a problem for me, in which case I'll have to respond. She said it very bluntly. And that's why I showed this. Yonaguni, 100 kilometers away. Any attack on Taiwan means something has to be done on Yonaguni. Now, why is all this come about? Take your mind back to the time 23 when Nancy Pelosi landed up here in Taiwan. That is the only time when the Chinese fired missiles across Taiwan. One of them landed near this Yonaguni in the territorial waters of Japan. So that is why the Japanese deem it as a life-threatening, survival-threatening situation. Now, and they said, you do anything here, I have to come in with military. What they'll do is a different story. Whether Japan has a good military or not, we don't know. I mean, they don't have that great a military compared to China. But the fact is, China has to then, if it attacks Taiwan, it has to now contend with Japan, and Philippines will run into the fray. The moment this is happening, the Indo-Pacific region is getting heated up. India comes back into the game. Now, in that article, it says the comments have angered China, which warned Japan against military intervention in Taiwan. So they said, look, you want to do, we will do what we have to do in Taiwan, you keep out of it. Okay? And vowed to respond forcefully if Japan is involved. This marks a shift from Japan's previous stance of strategic ambiguity. Is Japan giving it up for some reason, whatever? Is the reason could be, well, let me heat up the area. USA will come back here. Or genuinely it might say, I am threatened. That Yonaguni line of islands are threatened because of Chinese actions on Taiwan. So I have to deploy. So when she is giving that thing that I have to deploy, the Chinese are worried. It's only natural. So the whole lot of things are happening. Okay. Now, the moment Sanai Taikichi said this, the Chinese consul in Japan, he said this. I mean, this is very interesting. He's become the wolf warrior. He says Chinese consul general in Osaka, Zhu Jian, threatens to behead Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi over her support for Taiwan. This is serious. He says, I'll cut off her head. What did he actually say? He says, I have no choice but to cut off that filthy head that has come charging in without a moment's hesitation. Are you ready? That's strong. Yeah, I'll cut off the Prime Minister's head, and that too a filthy head. So, garmi hai udhar. And of course, this has caught everyone's imagination. It's come on New York Times as headlines. China's wolf warrior diplomacy returns. And you know how BBC has commented how Japan PM's remark on Taiwan has infuriated China. And then the sail pass took place of 3 PLA ships. And today, the airline thing, we don't know whether they'll fight or not. Okay. Then the PLA Daily has come out with an article. This is from China military. They says if Japan dares to intervene in the Taiwan Strait situation by military means, it would constitute an act of invasion and will be met with strong fight back from China. So China has made its thing clear. The issue is, will China do it? Will Japan take that step or not? We don't know. I mean, let me put it this way. But it also implies that China is prepared to invade Taiwan. So is Japan heating up the system only to see the US reaction and the Chinese reaction? Or is there something else on the cards? We don't know as of now. We only know that the escalation ladder is moving up slowly. Okay, of course, everyone is now saying this single remark by Taiwan on Taiwan has reignited Japanese tensions with China. Which means again, I mean, you know, you look at it 360 degrees, Indo-Pacific is becoming hotter. And there's yet another thing which happened, which has completely pissed off China. And that is the vice premier of Taiwan. She went and spoke at the European Parliament. Okay, IPAC, that is Inter-Parliamentary Action Committee of EU. She went and spoke there. The moment she went and spoke there, the Chinese are up in flames. They want one China. By allowing this lady to speak there, they feel that Europe is now ditching them. Both these events have happened together, and my bet is the Chinese will be, you know, focusing more on Japan. They can do nothing much to EU except trade, and all. So this thing is on a tinderbox at this point of time. Okay. And then China has also told the European Parliament, you don't allow Taiwan independence politicians to come and address people in EU. Don't recognize them. They all that. So this entire area is just not about Japan China equations. Taiwan has also willingly been drawn into it. Okay, and there are articles galore in Guancha and all about this whole story. Okay, and that China is now warning Japan, China is warning you, take care, don't entertain this lady or don't entertain anyone from Taiwan. So all this story has started, and this is going on for the past 1 week. As things are escalating, I thought it's in fitness of things that I must put this across to all of you so that you understand tomorrow if there's a spat, there's a backgrounder. Okay, is that all? No. Very interestingly, the South China Morning Post and traditional magazines and websites, they are not talking much about this. The PLA military has come out with articles. This is a PLA military article. And their sense of, ye unka cartoon hai. Poor cartoon, but well, it conveys a point. And then they now are giving a new story. The reunification of the motherland is inevitable and irresistible. With what's happening in Japan, the way articles are coming out, is there something likely to happen in Taiwan? Or is China becoming militaristic? Or it's already on the path of war with whom I don't know. Right? Or something we'll come to know shortly. But we have to also assess something else about China, whether it can go for war or not. We'll talk of it. We'll talk of this. Because tomorrow and day after, I'm going to devote morning to China, unless, of course, Asim Munir does something naughty. Then the articles which say, look, it's not only restoration of Taiwan, but we need to unite it, liberate it, and it should be governed by China. Liberation means the Taiwanese should be liberated from capitalism. They should be taken into communism. So all this story is going on. Okay, right. And then the PLA military, this green line, one is all about PLA military. They have become active. I'm very surprised about it. China is confident of safeguarding the homeland, right? All that. And what they have done is they have taken from their satellite constellation, they've taken pictures of Taiwan and they're splashing it all around to tell Taiwan, look, we know what is where. So there is signaling going on, there's some show of force going on, and the conflict is heating up. Now they're worried. The Chinese are worried that about the Japanese and Philippines defense pact. What is this defense pact? We'll just understand. And this is now also like I said, that was South China Morning Post article. Now the Chinese military, like I said, has become a bit more active than I normally see them on these issues. They talk of, some meeting is held, some veterans are met, Xi Jinping has gone here. These are the kind of articles which come. But the trend line now is something different. It says Japan, Philippines Defense Corp shouldn't disrupt regional stability. So they're aiming at something else, right? And what is this defense pact? It's all about reciprocal access agreement they have between the two countries. And there's an agreement which has been signed for acquisition and cross servicing agreement. That's the thing, which means they'll acquire weapons with common platforms and common norms, and cross servicing means I can service your weapons, you can service my weapons. All this is happening between Japan and Philippines. Japan Philippines defense cooperation framework will fully cover areas such as defense strategy, military tactics, intelligence sharing, equipment and technology, and joint training, effectively establishing a quasi alliance between the two nations. Very clear. If Japan and Philippines get together and do something with Taiwan in between, China has a lot to be worried, and that is what this agreement says. And of course, there's an agreement concerning tariffs, transfer of China equipment. Sorry, transfer of defense equipment and technology from Japan to Philippines and all. That's a different story, but that dimension is also there. So China is worried, right? So where does this whole story go? Will China go to war? I don't know. Is China strong enough to go to war? We have not yet conclusively proven that. And that's why join me tomorrow. We are going to do this China's paradox. The China's paradox is called Wai Chiang Zhongjian. What does that mean? Outwardly strong, inwardly brittle. Very interesting. And this is what is coming out of China. And I'll talk of this tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow morning, we'll talk of this. This is the thumbnail. Join in. Wai Qiang Zhonggan. Outwardly strong, inwardly brittle. And Taiwan war. We'll talk of it not tomorrow evening, day after tomorrow morning. We'll talk of this on Monday morning. Okay. If you look at this cartoon, it's very clear that the Russian bear is trying to eat the Ukrainian porcupine. And the dragon says, "Oh, I'm not hungry at this point." Why am I put this? We've always said that China can't handle Taiwan porcupine. That's not the reason. The issue is, can China afford to go to war? When it's, that paradox, when we understand that paradox, see what China is projecting, what it is, we'll understand this, and I'll put it in a historical context tomorrow. And then we will see whether China can go to war. That's the third part of this series. Okay. So there is a problem in Indo-Pacific. Don't wish it away. China, Japan, let's see where it goes. It's escalating so far. At some point of time, it should stop, hopefully. But when it stops, things would have changed. The Indo-Pacific would be getting back into action. That's the point. If that is there, our whole geostrategic construct will start changing. And we don't know where this is going so far. Let's see. But in the meanwhile, we need to we can't take our eyes off the ball of China. So what I'll do is, today we've tackled this. Tomorrow and day after mornings, we'll tackle China. And then after that, I'll get back to Kemeng sector, Arunachal Pradesh. We'll get back to the terrain part of it. We've understood Sikkim, we've understood Chumbi Valley, we've understood Bhutan, right? Right, we've understood Bhutan, we've understood Bhutan, and we'll now understand Kemeng sector or the western Arunachal Pradesh. That's my plan for the next 2 days. Do join in, and then we'll see where it goes. This is a very short presentation. I just thought I'll put this in front of all of you, where the Japanese spat with China is gaining momentum. We don't know where this will end, but it's good for us to understand it. Right? Thanks. I'll take some questions. I do hope you liked this video. Like I said, I'm not in this game of just focusing on India and Pakistan and only China. We need to look farther and wider to get a sense of where India is. And unless you understand what's going otherwise, we will not be able to appreciate where we are going. That is why I'm talking of this. As of now, I will not yet talk of India blocking Malacca Strait like Krishna Upadhyay says. Why we consider Chicken Neck as the same 22-kilometer stretch, Bhutan and Nepal are not our adversary. Look, we'll talk of all this when we talk of Arunachal. Okay. Will India, like someone says, will India naval blockade Malacca Strait, Babal Mandap, and Persian Gulf? We'll talk of this. I've spoken of Indian Ocean, and I'll speak of Indian Ocean one of these days. Right? So, I would suggest to all of you, do subscribe to Gunner Shot, like this video, and join in as members. Thanks a lot, Cool Boy, for joining as a member. If you joined twice, my thanks twice, not only twice, multiplied by 10 and many more. Right. I'll stop here at this point of time and we'll take on more questions. Right. Srinivas Kambampati, salute sir, will US enter if things escalate? US will be forced to enter if things escalate. But even now, if you see, there's a subtle shift which is taking place. I spoke 2 days back about the 10-year defense agreement between India and USA, and things are changing. There's a perceptible change in USA that they have no choice but to start looking at the Indo-Pacific. So I don't know whether US will really come and escalate and things like that, but there will be some reactions, and it's good for us because then they'll need us. But let's see how it goes. I really, at this point of time, I really don't know. And Ritvik, he says, China has expanded its fleet at lightning speed. They've added all kinds of weapons. How big a threat is Chinese Navy, and what is the laser weapon? Is it really? No, don't get carried away by what China does, please. I will show it to you tomorrow and day after. This is what I'm going to answer largely, Ritvik. China can't enter the Malacca Strait, please. They don't have the base for it. Neither is Djibouti the base. They can't do all that. So let's not overplay China that they can do anything and everything they want. They can't. They don't have wherewithal to do it. Okay. Yeah, Praveen, Jai Hind to you. Yeah, Devesh Bele, hello, thank you. Yeah, nuanced perspective, interesting. Yeah, Amitesh finds it interesting because this is just a developing story and you have to catch it on, as it goes up. Only then you understand. But whichever way it goes, we'll track it. Chinese bridges and infrastructure are collapsing one by one. We'll talk of this also. We'll talk of this tomorrow. There's a paradox of China. Japan is capable of becoming a superpower in the short period and they are on the way. I don't think so. I don't think Japan has the population. See, this is what I keep saying. Japan doesn't have the population to do so. It's aged. Same thing will happen with China. Okay. Thank you very much for covering this. Look, this is the way I do. We must cover everything, have a 360-degree view. That's why I even covered Sudan. Now I'm covering Japan. We'll cover the whole world slowly, one by one. Yeah, our favorite general is streaming. Thank you. This is a good question. China and Japan population is declining. For whom will they fight? That's a good question. And this is something which we'll answer tomorrow and the day after. Can India, Japan, Russia coalition be possible? Out of question. Because Japan and Russia don't see eye to eye. One doubt is China purposely doing this to distract the US? I don't think so. I think Sanai Takichi of Japan is pretty strong. She's giving two fingers to China, and China is now reacting. That's why I said we have to understand why she's doing it. We'll not understand why she's doing it till we see whether China can go to war or not. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Japanese Foreign Minister Motegi responded with 6 words. Of course, no retraction. But Japan will not retract. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, Khatri, he says, sir, हिंदी में जियोपॉलिटिक्स बताया करो. यार, मैंने शुरू किया था हिंदी में ही बात करने से. मे बी कल ट्राई करते हैं. कल सवेरे हिंदी में बात करूंगा चाइना के बारे में. We'll try. I want to speak. I want to. But let's see. Like आज शाम को I spoke to Sanjay Dixit. So that's come out. That video is out. Have a look at it. That's about Sindur 2.0. It's all in Hindi. Swedish telecom gear maker Ericsson on Thursday announced establishment of a radio access network software research and development unit in Bangalore. Yeah, these will grow. I have no doubt about India. Let's not be. That's why we need to think differently. I mean, we need to think big. Don't get stuck with Pakistan alone. That is why I take topics which are away from our comfort zone. Yeah, Japanese society, they have aspiration to rediscover Japan's ancient power. The society is very much associated with Sakakigara's theory of war. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Every country would like to revive itself, there's no doubt. Okay. What will be the role of Russia if this escalates? Russia will side with China. Let's not have doubts because China and Japan and Russia have problems with each other and they have severe problems with each other. Yeah, your views on Delhi Blast is absolutely spot on, whether it's in P Guru's Jaipur dialogue or with Sandeep Bhai. Yeah, I'm very clear. I have no doubts about what I have said. What's the geopolitics behind Taiwan that interests the US? Is it the South China Sea? No, okay. I'll again explain it. I think this has gone out of everyone's idea. Look, Taiwan is the have a look at this. This is the first island chain. It comes from Korea, Japan, the Osaka Islands, then Senkakus and Diaoyus, Taiwan, then it comes to Bashi Channel, Luzon and goes. This is the first island chain. The weakest point in the first island chain is Taiwan. The day this is given, the Chinese army navy can break out into, the deep blue sea. Let me put it that way, into the far oceans. Today, as far as China, as far as USA has weapons in Luzon, they have weapons in Luzon. They have a base. They have 4 bases in Philippines. US supports Taiwan fully. US has 1 division in Korea and troops in Japan, and it has beefed up the first island chain. It is actually containing this. This is the physical containment of China. If Taiwan falls, this containment breaks. If that containment breaks, the Chinese Navy breaks out from here and goes in, and then next stop is Guam, and it will confront US face to face. So that is the significance of this whole story, right? The geopolitics behind Taiwan. Taiwan is critical for containment of China. Understand that. If it didn't stop, would India side with Japan? Of course, it will. This is my first time here. Thanks a lot, Iota, for joining in for the first time. Keep coming back. You'll get different kind of thinking. Okay, travelogue. Yeah, we'll do the travelogue. We'll now go into Western Arunachal Pradesh or Kameng district. Good evening, sir, and Jai Hind. Good evening, Murugesan. Thank you for thing. Will Indian blockade Malacca Straits? No, we'll talk of this separately. I'll talk of maybe I'll have to start talking back of Indo-Pacific. Okay. Army chief's last statement, he said he had given importance to several sectors, including artillery, but he talked about reducing infantry. I really don't understand the reason. Can you elaborate? One of these days, I'll do this in detail, force structuring. I mean, there's no choice. There's no choice. Kiran, thanks a lot for joining in. Good evening to you. Folks, like and subscribe. Thank you for your thing. Yeah, Pawan also says, please like and subscribe the channel. Thank you. If demography can't sustain China, how can Japan do such things? Yeah, that's the thing. We'll see how it unfolds. I don't think personally they'll start firing at each other, but who knows? Let's see how things happen. We'll have to see whether Japan is ready for war, is China ready for war, all these things. We'll see. Can you cover what we did wrong in handling Bangladesh and Manipur? Manipur, I have already spoken. Kaushik, if you go back into, just type Manipur in Gunner Shot and you'll get 3, 4 videos. In fact, I got General Shokin Chauhan also to, speak about Manipur. And I still remember when he spoke of Manipur, there was such an adverse reaction from Manipuris, not funny. Both cookies and, uh, Meithis, both. Yeah. Yeah. After US Japan meet, US stepped out, Japan stepped in. Time for Takaichi San to show the metal. She's doing it. She's a strong lady. So let's see where it goes. Right? We've done with all the questions because there are not many people who come. Yeah, I do understand. This is not glamorous. It is important. I would say, look, as much as we are inflamed by what's happening with Pakistan, all that, we have to understand that, there's a world beyond Pakistan. Right? And here we have Bruno who says, why are the leftists anti nationals? The leftists are anti nationals in our country because I think they are out of tune with what's happening in this country. They want to go back to a time when, India was poor and things like that. India has changed. I don't mind socialism. Let me be very honest. In fact, if you see, there's a political answer, I'll give it. If you see the BJP government and Narendra Modi's government, all three, 1, 2, and 3. Before Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister of our country the first time, a lot of talk was about right wing politics, how India will become capitalist, all that. But after he's taken over, the BJP government has been more socialist than anyone else. Free latrines, free gas, Jan Dhan bank accounts, things like that. They've become actually very socialist. We will continue to be socialist because a whole lot of our people are not very well off. And those socially backward people and the economically weaker section have to be uplifted. Yes. But if you do it in the right sense, with the right balance, almost in the center, okay, a little left of center is okay. And that's what even BJP has become. These days, no one, I don't think BJP is even right of center. All our governments have become left of center. That's the hard fact. But the leftists in our country are far to the left. They're destroying this country. They want our country to go back to the Philistines. No, that is why they're anti-national. And they don't have a way of getting power. So if a person doesn't have a way of getting power by the normal methods, he'll do the foolish thing. And that's what they're doing. That's the problem with the nationalists. Yeah, Namaste, General Shankar. Thanks for your presentation. The notification didn't come through. Usually, I get the YT and error tile. Let me see. I actually was not prepared to do this, but I said, look, I have to do this in a line today, tomorrow, and day after. That's why I took it on today, and this today is a smaller one. Tomorrow it might be a little longer than this. Okay, and yeah, let's see this. Amid global restructuring and rollback by powers, what are your thoughts about dream of Asian century, given the fact that India is strong pivot in the region, is strategic autonomy sustainable? It is. We've sustained it for so long. We've sustained strategic autonomy even when we were not rich. Today, though, we are better off. In fact, we sustained it when we were poor. We are better off. As far as this Asian century, I don't agree with it. There's no Asian century. Because when you talk of Asian century, rejuvenation, dream, you talk of China. And China is not anymore the king of the walk. Yeah. They are narrating our point of view to the world of orthodox. So what if? Are they modern? Are the leftists modern? What is it that they have done? Where have you seen any leftist country prosper? Are they prosperous? They'll ruin this country. I am very sure about that. Right. Yeah, you have been direct in expressing your realistic and wise views during the last 3 days. Appreciate it, sir. Someone has to speak very honestly to all these people. You should have the courage of conviction to speak straight and tell, look, this is a problem. Somewhere, someone will learn, and at least a few chaps will change. That's what we should. Societies don't change if you beat around the bush. There's no diplomacy in this. Americans have appreciated India investigating agencies for the first time by Marco Rubio. Your thoughts? I don't give much credence to that. Let us see how things unfold, because this is the whole story is something in motion. Let's see where it goes. Okay. Where do we fit in this equation? I've spoken so many times. We fit highly in this equation. Whatever is happening in the Indo-Pacific will bring you back into focus. And then we have to take a choice how we have to do. But it's too premature. Like so I said, that's why I kept my whole thing short. Today is just the first story, but the larger thing is about China. We'll get back to China tomorrow. Right? Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot for joining, all those of you. Give it to your friends who have the interest in understanding what's happening. Right? Till then, have a great day. Jai Hind and Vande Mataram to all of you.